Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And welcome into another edition of the Onside Kick here on Most Valuable Podcast. If you're joining us on YouTube, hello. It is great to see your faces again. If you're on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher, thank you guys for giving us the listen, giving us the download today. Mark, it's our favorite time of the year. We are starting what we do every year. We go through each division. It's a 2-month process that we start in early June, go through every single division, kind of preview each team until we get to the preseason and get to our actual predictions in July, and then everything starts to kind of snowball from there. However, before we start the predictions, today is the AFC West is what the division we will take you guys through. We've got a kind of a news story that we got to talk about because Friday, well after we recorded last week's Onside Kick, the Chiefs decided to make a move, kind of a big move. They let Jeremy Maclin go, said, you know what, we're doing it for cap reasons, we're going to cut you, which eventually when that happens, Jeremy Maclin hit the open market. Mark, I'm just going to be frank with you, I'm going to throw it out there. Jeremy Maclin, free agent, no longer a Chief. Where is he going to be playing? What's the best fit for Jeremy Maclin?
Well, you got to look at the teams that obviously need a wide receiver. They're obviously all given the call. But you want to see from Jeremy Maclin's side, he wants to go somewhere where there's a good quarterback to play with him.
Or playoffs.
Yeah. So and we'll get to some of these teams, I'm sure, a team like the Bears or the Browns or the Jets, they made the phone call and Jeremy Maclin, he didn't answer. He's screening those calls. But,
he hit the no.
Yeah, exactly. He says, no, I'm not interested. You have some teams that are kind of that step up, like the Rams, the Bills. But a team that I think is a very genuine good fit is going to be the Ravens. I mean, you get to play with Joe Flacco. You get to play on a team that has been known for kind of giving second chances, second opportunities to some of these wide receivers. And they have great big play opportunity. And that's going to be something that Maclin can be huge for. Maclin, if you ever had him in fantasy football, I'm sure some of you have wanted him. He's going to rack up some points for you. He's going to help out this offense.
Unless he's on the Chiefs, because he's not going to get any touchdowns.
Well, yeah, he can't get touchdowns there because wide receivers on the Chiefs don't score touchdowns. But I would love to see that connection between Joe Flacco and a very talented Jeremy Maclin. Because honestly, Baltimore, it's been a little bit since they've had that great connection between the wide receiver and quarterback that's really putting the league on notice.
Well, and I mean, the Ravens, to me, they're one of those teams where I had two teams in my mind that after looking at everyone, they're like, okay, he can go here, he can go there. Obviously, the big one in the news that we've heard about is LaShawn McCoy made the call. Tyrod Taylor has joined the recruiting effort. Buffalo's kind of making a hard push, a hard sell.
Yeah, as they should.
To get Maclin in a Bills jersey. But the thing that I think Jeremy Maclin should look at the most when it comes to a team to play for at this point in his career, who's going to set me up for the best situation to put a ring on my finger? And I'm sorry, Buffalo, you don't fit that mold because Tom Brady's in your division.
Yeah.
There's no way
they can get in the wild card, but they're not winning the division.
But if I'm not winning the division against Tom Brady, I'm definitely not beating him in the playoffs, especially with the team that you have. Tom Brady would beat you any playoff game that you had, and you're not winning the division. The two teams that I look at, you mentioned one of them, the Ravens, because you look at that North Division in the AFC, the Browns aren't going to compete for the division. The Bengals are kind of falling off a little bit. They're a little hit or miss each year. And then really your only competition is the Steelers. And like you said, you get to go play with Joe Flacco. You would obviously, to me, I look at their wide receivers, he'd obviously be the number one target. I'm sorry, Mike Williams. I'm sorry, Brashard Perryman, the guy that they drafted to be that number one when Torrey Smith was kind of moved out of town. I would say I can go to Baltimore, be Joe Flacco's number one guy. That would take pressure off of Perriman. So coming back from injury, he can just come and kind of get used to being out there again and producing to what they're expecting him to. And then Mike Wallace that takes pressure off of him as well. The other two teams that I think kind of fit this mold is the Arizona Cardinals, because they're a team where, yes, they've got that thing with the Seahawks where you can say, well, Ricky, if the Bills have the Patriots, the Cardinals have the Seahawks. However, I don't think the Seahawks are as strong as they used to be in the past. They're a team that's very much on a line of either sustaining their playoff hopes or falling apart potentially with everything that they have to do, the chaos that they have. Also, what would it be like to be the number 2 to Larry Fitzgerald? Ask Anquan Bolden how that was. Was pretty damn good for him. So those are the two teams. The far out one that I see also, the Lions, because you get to go play with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and one thing, of course, with playing with Fitzgerald is he's not going to be around for too long. And not that Maclin's young, but he'll have that opportunity to take over the number one role, especially if you can go and make a run at a Super Bowl.
If you're going to Arizona, though, for Maclin, that's the, and I'm using an NBA term here, that's the ring chaser. Because you're going to be the number 2 to Larry Fitzgerald. Carson Palmer is not going to be around, let alone stay healthy for very long. So really that would be hey, I'm putting the chips on Carson Palmer. I'm signing a 1 to 2 year contract to try to win a ring with you guys, help your receiving core, give Carson Palmer another target to throw to if he can stay healthy. But that would be the ring chaser team if he signed with the Cardinals.
Now, something that I actually, maybe it's going to surprise people watching and listening, but I would like to kind of see him on the LA Rams. Why? Because I think that Tavon Austin will get a lot of help from it. Todd Gurley won't be the only weapon on that offense, so that way he gets stopped.
To throw to.
And Jared Goff coming in here and actually being allowed to play for once is going to have good weapons and will be able to actually make a splash in the NFL that we would expect out of the number 1 overall pick. So I would like to see this happen. I don't think it will happen. Jeremy Maclin would be kind of saying, not this year, not next year, but maybe when I'm 33, 34 years old, maybe then we can make a run. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, right now you got to look at it. I mean, Maclin, 28 years old. Right now, this next season will be 29. He's approaching that 30-year mark. And I look at it and it's like, you've been in the league since 2009. The main thing that should be on your mind is getting a ring. And that last team that I mentioned, the Lions, the reason why...
the flip side is just if he just wants the paycheck.
If you just want the big paycheck.
Yeah, he could go that route too. We're assuming he wants the ring, but he might go paycheck.
Which I'm saying, if he wants a comfortable situation, Buffalo.
Yeah,
because
they'll pay.
They'll pay for you. You've got LaShawn McCoy and Tyrod Taylor who are making you feel wanted. Hey, come play for us. We want you here. We can win with you. Kind of feeding your head with those normal recruiting things that players do. I just think
it's cold.
Yeah, I just think that the two best fits are, like you said, the Ravens, because that AFC North is a toss-up each year, and really, who's to say that this year isn't Big Ben's last? Because really, he came out and said, hey, you know what, I'm taking it. He's basically doing the Michael Jordan route of, I'm taking it year by year, 1-year contracts for the rest of my time. I mean, at the end of each year, I'm reevaluating whether I'm going to retire or not. Who says you sign this year? Big Ben retires at the end of this one, and then you're set up with the Ravens to pounce on that division and be the new kings of the AFC North. Cardinals, like I said, that's a little bit risky because of the health to Carson Palmer. However, the riskier pick is the Lions, because you've got Golden Tate there. You would come in and be there with Golden Tate. Matthew Stafford's a pretty solid quarterback to have. The only thing there is you would have to compete with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, I'll ask you this, do you feel like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the NFC North is a similar situation to what we said the Bills with the Patriots?
Well, essentially, it is pretty similar because Aaron Rodgers has just dominated this division for so long, with minor exceptions. So the other thing to think about, though, is kind of those minor exceptions of the defense of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think you want to face that. And Chicago, with a defensive coach like John Fox, trying to rebuild that defense, it's the kind of thing where it's like this whole division is known for defense. I don't know that I want to be a part of that.
I'll be honest. I saw a tweet or a headline or something on my phone this weekend that said, like, oh, Mike Zimmer should make a push for Maclin. And I said, please do it. Please, like, could you get Sam Bradford a solid weapon to be your number one with, we got Latavius Murray. I know he's no AP, but he's a solid back. If we can sign Dalvin Cook, get him to be the number two. Stephon Diggs being the number two to Maclin's one. That's my pipe dream. That's me bringing up the Vikings because we could use Jeremy Maclin. I just don't think we would get it. I don't think the Bears are going to spend the money needed to get Maclin. The Rams, the Rams or even the Chargers, it would be like, why do I want to go play for you guys? You guys are dumpster fires. And then like other teams that I've seen, you mentioned the Jets and the Niners even. I look at those and go, why would he want to play? Why would he want to play for a team that's nowhere near a Super Bowl? Nowhere near a playoff team.
Well, at least the Rams, you have a little bit more than like the 49ers do. I'll put the Rams above the Jets, the Browns, the Bears, all these teams. Just because they do have some good pieces. But you're going to be like, 3 years until you're really going to take that shot for the ring. And if we're assuming he wants to go for the ring, because, like we say, getting close to 30, you don't know how much time you got left. As much as, like you say, you'd love him on your favorite team, the Vikings, I'd love him on my favorite team, the Bears. Anybody wants Jeremy Maclin. Anyone's going to want a piece of this. It's just a matter of what makes most sense. And to me, clear, far away, it's the Ravens.
Now, I'm going to throw out two teams. They're both from the same division. One's kind of I've seen articles about, would he go back here? Where I'm going to say the answer is no, because when he was there, Andy Reid was there, and that's why he went to KC. But people are obviously throwing out would he go back to the Philadelphia Eagles? That would be a team where you're playing with a young quarterback in Wentz, a little bit more polished than a Jared Goff. You also have Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith there. So you already have solid receivers. You could just step in and be just another one of the guys. However, the thing you got to worry about, wide receivers, they're usually the divas of the league.
Yeah.
And they kind of have the big heads of, wait, I need the ball.
And now
you got to get me the ball.
Alshon Jeffrey played with one of the bigger divas, Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
not quite Des Bryant level, but Brandon Marshall.
At least Brandon Marshall demands some attention.
Yeah.
So I think that might work out. And like you said, Carson Wentz is a good rookie. I don't know if I want to go so far as to say the more polished of the two. I think LA should have given Goff a chance way sooner than they did. And Carson Wentz started great, but came back down to earth.
Carson Wentz is the one that right now after one season, I know Goff didn't play most of it because the Rams were stupid in that sense, but he's the one that we have at this point the more promise in right now. That's where I was going with the more polished. But another team that I think won't make a pass at him, but should, is a team that we've talked about not too long ago. They have a quarterback right now and a franchise tender. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Talking about my boy Kirk Cousins?
Talking about Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Those Redskins.
He needs a target.
He's
got a target.
I know they got Terrell Pryor. I know Redskin fans are really excited about Josh Doxson. But what would tell Kirk Cousins, we are in this for you, we want you here on a long-term deal, than to say, look at that, we're bringing you in another weapon.
Then to say, look at the money we just spent on this guy that we could have spent on you.
I think Kirk Cousins wouldn't be mad, though.
No, I don't think
having
he'd be mad
nice, shiny new toy to throw to.
Yeah, he'd be able to pad those stats and get an even bigger contract when he goes to San Francisco. It'd be great. It's just one of those things where I have no faith in the Washington Redskins organization doing anything that makes sense.
So you're like,
so I'm shooting it down.
I don't think they would. But I see that and I go,
It would be nice. It'd be a great target.
I'm like, they're the team that should make one of the teams that should make the pass. So what I'm going to say here, kind of to wrap everything up, is the top 3 I would go. If I'm given like let's say the recruit when we get to the high school, it's like my top 5 schools, my top 3. If I'm labeling it down to a top 3 schools, my favorite would be the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, that's a division where it's the most fragile division of the ones that we've mentioned. And he could go in, have a quarterback that could throw him the ball, and he could do some damage in that division. Number 2 would be the Cardinals. He'd have a solid number 1 next to him. He would have I'm going to say Hall of Fame quarterback in Carson Palmer.
I don't know about that.
A solid quarterback. I'm going to say All-Pro, maybe even a Hall of Fame.
I'll give you the All-Pro. I just don't think he's going to probably make it to the Hall of Fame. He needs that ring first. He's one of those guys.
And Jeremy Maclin might be able to help him get that ring if he could stay healthy. That's the only thing that he needs to do. And then the third team that would be the farthest out for me would be the Detroit Lions, just because I'd get to play with Matthew Stafford and have a solid quarterback in that, even though I'd be in that division with 2 tough defenses in the Bears and the Vikings. But I would pick the Ravens overall. Who would be your top 3 and who would you pick?
Well, number 1, the Ravens are who I'm going to pick. There's no doubt about that. I already said that. I'm going to go slightly different than Ricky. I would avoid Arizona because Carson Palmer, I wanted to say Wentz so badly there. Carson Palmer is not going to be healthy. And, Fitzgerald, he's moments away from retiring. I don't think you're going to get that ring if you're seeking that. So I'm going to say number 2 is the Buffalo Bills because they're going to pay you.
Okay.
They're going to pay you big.
And you get to play with Jeremy Maclin, who you have spent time with.
Yep. And then the third one that I'm going to go to, a different route because I just think it'll be interesting.
Okay.
LA, man. Go play for the Rams.
Go play for the Rams.
Play for the Rams.
Just because it's LA?
They're going to pay you once again. You'll get paid. But the other part is there are good pieces there. They need a guy like you to bring that team to the next level. We got to hope that, of course, Jared Goff is the real deal, like you would have hoped when you drafted the guy number 1 overall.
And that would be the one thing, the main thing that would steer me away from the Rams is the question mark of Jared Goff. When I have teams out there like even the Bills you mentioned, the Ravens we've mentioned, I would even throw the Lions in there of, I can go there and have a solid quarterback throw me the ball. Even, let's put it this way, I would even pick the Bears over the Rams because I would be either A, more confident in Mike Glennon or more confident in the rookie Mitchell Trubisky than Jared Goff right now. Like, that's where I am with the Jared Goff confidence meter. We still need to see something. I wouldn't be confident in going there.
To be fair, you still need to see something out of Glennon or Trubisky as well.
True. I mean, hey, Trubisky did I find it funny because Mike Rankin was like, all the writers were like, why did we pick him here? And then they like
they loved him.
Mini camps. It's like, he's got some zip on the ball. I like this kid.
I like this kid.
Can throw the
he
ball.
looks like he can play football. How good.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below in the comment section. Give me your top 3 teams. So if you were coming up with a top 3 team list for Maclin to go to, who would they be? And then give me that number 1 team. What team would you go to if you were Jeremy Maclin?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.